Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth Mendenhall again, and you are joining me for the second in a 5-video series on strategic planning for realtor associations for 2020. In the first video, we kind of summed up some of the techniques and things and thought process to go through strategic planning. But in this video, I want to focus on one of 3 important concepts that I'm going to kind of attribute to strategic planning this year. And this one I'm going to call accessibility. So accessibility has to do with programs, products, and services. It has to do with just accessibility to each other, but it also has to do with accessibility to the leaders. So let's start first with our programs, products, and services. Never in 2020 have all of a sudden we realized that it was so important that members find information quick and find it when they needed it, which meant that in order to do that, it needed to be online. We've kind of had a long time in our system with the association. We've had kind of this hierarchy of maybe it's involved, maybe it's at the national association, maybe it's at the state association, maybe it's at the local association, and we lean on those 3 tiers to try to get information. Well, what we realize now is that everybody's got to get the information anywhere they can find it, and they've got to get it quick. It's not, it wasn't uncommon that most associations had a COVID page dedicated just for COVID information right on their website so everybody could get that specific train of thought. And it was so critical that it was updated daily and regularly with correct information. And when we knew that one singular place where we could find information, we knew where we could get it. And we felt confident about the information coming from the association because we had that resource. But how many times do we kind of leave accessibility to the side, or we don't make it a priority, which could have to do with how searchable is our website? How prominent is the top information that realtors need? Is it kind of hidden under other agendas? I will tell you, one of the things that I found traveling this country and traveling associations was when I was a realtor coming to an association, maybe to speak or maybe to present at an event, a lot of times I'd want to do a little research and I'd go to the website and I'd try to find information. Maybe it was about an event or the leadership. And a lot of times it was hidden behind a privacy wall. Well, I don't know if you're like me, but I struggle many times with trying to find sometimes all my passwords on all my sites. And if it's information that you want your members to get, the more accessible you can make it, the better. So that's one key component is how do we find the programs and products and services that we provide as an association? And then how do we make sure that our members can access it and use it in a good information? But really the bigger issue for 2020 became the accessibility of leadership and the accessibility of the association. We were online, we were doing live videos, we were doing webinars, we were there, we were in people's home. Doesn't it feel so intimate when we're here and here sharing a screen to screen that if I'm way back here, see how that changes things? And imagine if I'm way out of the space and I'm not there, but when we're here one-on-one, all of a sudden you feel like you know me. You're in my home. You're sharing a space with me and you know that I'm accessible. You also know that I'm at home, so you can contact me, email me, message me, and it's likely that I'm going to get it. And that type of feeling and connection with each other and with an association was very, very powerful. So how do we harness that power and make sure that we continue that on through our leadership? One of the things that I always heard, and it just broke my heart every time I would hear it, is you'd hear, and I know many of you have said this or you hear this, you hear that like leadership, they're not approachable. We don't know how to talk to them. They're kind of in this different realm. It's like, hey, guess what? We're just the same as you. We're realtors to realtors. Everyone here is trying to do something better. But for some reason, that barrier gets created sometimes when there's a title. And so we were able to break that down with COVID because we were right there in each other's homes many times every day, or you knew where you could find information and you could get direct information from someone, which became a really key strategy that some of us didn't even realize. And it may have felt like it was all instructional, right? And we were providing all this information and all this instruction to people. But what it really was, it wasn't just about the information and the knowledge. It was about knowing that someone was there, that they were accessible. I could reach them, I could email them, I could talk to them, and that my association leadership was doing something for me, and I knew that they were there. So if I'm doing strategic planning for 2020 and beyond, That's one of the key components that I'm thinking about, is how do we continue to make the association accessible, relevant, providing good information, not just about the programs and products and services that we use, but also to the leadership who serves it, and so that our members feel really connected. Because part of that accessibility was not only connected to the leadership, but realizing that we were connected to each other. It was very powerful to be on a webinar, to be on a Facebook Live, and to see 100 other realtors in the comments making comments, and to know that I wasn't out there alone. And that's going to lead us into our video 3, which will be mass collaboration. So I hope you're enjoying the series.